A regular meeting of the City Council held in Council Chamber on Thursday, March 9th, 2017 at 7 p.m. for the purpose of transacting any and all business. Notice of this meeting was posted on March 7th, 2017 at 12:07 p.m. This meeting is being taped and is live on SATV. Councilor Dibble is the only councilor absent. Councilor Milo presiding. If you could please check your cell phones, make sure they're on silent or off, please. Councilor Famico, move to dispense with the reading of the record of the previous meeting. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. I request that you stand and salute the flag with us, led by Councilor Lovely.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Public testimony. First, we have Celia Mulvihill? Mulvihill, thank you. If you could please come to the podium and give us your name and your address, please.
Hi, my name is Celia Mulvihill, and I reside at 36 Derby Street, and I want to thank everybody for giving me your time and attention tonight. I unfortunately was not able to make the meeting the other night, and there's just a few things that I want to be addressed. Given the fact that where I live, that is like the corner of everything that goes with that power plant. Lucky for me, I get woken up at, I wake up every morning at 5 in the morning. And these guys coming to work, blasting their music at 5 in the morning. The construction workers, they're just crazy. And the parking is terrible. It's a one-way street. We only get to park on one side of that street. I'm at the very end, so I don't have a lot of options. I have a car. My daughter has a car. My daughter, who lives downstairs, also has a car and a newborn child. My neighbors next door, they have 4 cars. The girl next door is also pregnant. My grandchild has gotten sick many times because my daughter cannot park in front of our house due to these construction workers. It doesn't matter that you have a sign there that says permit parking only. They park there anyway. If you call the police, if they do come, it takes them forever. I have seen multiple times where they give these gentlemen parking tickets. These guys will take the parking ticket off, go to lunch, come back, have lunch, park their car again, and put that ticket right back on their window. They don't care. They have no respect for the neighborhood. And now I see that you guys want to continue this all night. I get up early. I can hear at 5 in the morning. I can hear their trucks backing up. I don't give it much thought because I'm out the door by 6:30. But I do get up early. So now I'm expected to have to listen to this all night. It's just not fair to anybody in the neighborhood. It's just terrible. They don't care. Like I said, they just park there. It doesn't matter. And all we're asking is that you not allow them to do this all night. We deserve the right to get a decent night's sleep. And I've noticed that when you guys have that cruise ship come here, you guys don't work at the plant that night. I don't know if it's your doing, the plant's doing, but how is it that the tourists who are only there for 1 or 2 nights on that big old boat get more respect than I do, and I live there. And I just don't feel that this is right to me. I'm not a homeowner. I just rent. But I pay my rent, and I pay bills, and I pay my taxes. So I have just as much right to a decent night's sleep as a bunch of tourists that are coming in to use the dock for the night. And I'm just asking that you guys consider this, because it's just not right that this goes on.
Okay.
You know,
Thank you. Just for the record, as far as the outcome of the meeting the other night, the matter was kept in committee, so there wasn't any decision, but you can
Oh,
you
I
can follow
understand
it.
that the lady explained that to me.
Okay, all right, thank you very
She said I
much.
could have a chance to come in and speak because I wasn't able to make it the other night.
Right, so,
So I understood that.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you again for giving me your time and attention.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have Jeff Cohen.
Jeff Cohen, 12 Hancock Street, Chair, Salem's No Place for Hate Committee. And I just wanted to address the order to accept the donation of $1,050 from Notch Brewery for No Place for Hate Fund. All the money that we raise all the money that we've spent has been raised by the committee. Some of the things that we have used the monies for are white ribbons that we purchased with Hawk for 3 years, usually 1,000 ribbons per year, a table and the ability to march at North Shore Pride, co-sponsorship of the Martin Luther King Vigil and Freedom March at Salem State. We've sponsored films about social justice at Salem Film Fest, and we were the sponsors of the Creative Equal film series, which had films like The Loving Story. We created the Hate Crimes Awareness Program for Essex County, the first ever in Massachusetts, accepted by the Essex County DA, the Judicial Court, and the Probate Department. We also did with Salem Award Foundation and the Center for Holocaust and Genocide at Salem State, the Taking Action Against Intimidation Symposium at Salem State. And there's a really nice rock in front of the Adriatic with a quote from Elie Wiesel: "The opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference." These are some of the things that we do with our money. Our mission, of course, is twofold. One is to combat and get rid of prejudice and discrimination through outreach and education. The other is to help individual victims, and if we can't help them, we direct them to organizations like Hawk, North Shore Elder Services, etc. This year we won North Shore Elder Services Advocacy Award, which we're really proud of. So I want to say that we appreciate your consideration on this matter. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Paul Prevey.
Good evening, Madam President. Good evening, members of the council. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you tonight about...
Could you state your name and your address, please?
Paul Prevey, 5 Freeman Road, Salem, Massachusetts.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to speak in support of Councilor Ryan's resolution that he has before the council relative to, it talks about immigration reform. And it was brought to my attention yesterday. I had an opportunity to read through it, and I think it's good because it touches on a lot of important aspects of kind of what's going on in the country, what's going on in Salem, and in a lot of our communities. And I just want to share a little bit of my own personal experience in terms of my involvement in immigration over the past 15 years. My husband is a Mexican national. We met back in 1999. He was here on a temporary visa, and as things went on, we got involved with each other. We ended up getting married, and that was in 2004. He was still on a temporary status, and he was still trying to get some type of permanent status. You know, it's a long process through immigration for a lot of people who don't know that. It takes years, it takes a lot of money, and it's a very difficult and long road for a lot of people, and it certainly was for us. At a certain point, because our marriage at that time was not recognized by the federal government, I was unable to petition for Saul for him to get a green card, unlike other heterosexual couples were able to at the time. And so we were faced with a decision as to whether he stays in the United States and then would eventually become unauthorized because he would not have documentation to stay here, or to return to Mexico. So we wanted to do things under the law, as painful as it was at the time. And so he ended up returning to Mexico, where he stayed there for 5 years until we figured a way in which to get him back here. And it was actually through the help of former Congressman John Tierney that actually assisted us at the time. So right around that time, the Supreme Court overturned the Defense of Marriage Act, so now I could petition for him. He came back to the United States, and even after that, 2.5 years later it took, he finally got his green card. So I know how important it is for families to understand that immigration is an important part of what their future is about. And if it doesn't work for them, then it's going to be a very heart-wrenching problem for them that's going to destroy families in some cases, and it's going to make it extremely difficult for them to move on with their lives. We had to put a lot of things on hold in our life until we were able to kind of resolve this. And he's back here, he's got his green card, he's on his path to becoming U.S. citizenship, he owns his own business, but he wouldn't be able to do a lot of those things if he wasn't in his current situation right now as a green card holder. And the big mess that goes on in Washington regarding the fighting that goes on over immigration reform is really at issue here. And no matter what we do as a community, I think we have to recognize at the ground level as to how it affects individual people and individual families. And while it's not going to force Congress to do anything, I think resolutions like what Councilor Ryan has proposed, if that were to sweep across the country into many local communities, and those voices are brought to bear on the Congress, maybe they would make a decision to do something about it, because it's just gone on for too long. And I don't know what the solution is in terms of what that comprehensive reform would be, but something has to be done because it's a very difficult and problematic system which does not aid families and doesn't really aid our country in the long run. And that's just my opinion based upon my own experience. So I want to thank you, Madam President, and members of the council for the opportunity to speak on this.
Thank you. Jim Carney.
My question's answered.
Okay, thank you very much. Marissa Peasy? If I can just remind you too, generally our public testimony is a total of 15 minutes. We started a little bit late tonight, so we've got about 3 or 4 minutes left. And there'll be an opportunity also to speak on this when we have the public hearing, just so that you know.
Okay, would the city council members prefer that I?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay.
Go right, I just...
Thank you. No, I appreciate that, and I will be brief. My name is Marissa Pizzi. I'm an in-house attorney with National Grid, and I'm here to speak in support of National Grid's request for city council approval to approve a special variance request to be issued by the building inspector for work to be performed on a Sunday, construction work to be performed on a Sunday, and specifically Sunday, June 4th of this year. As you may know, National Grid owns an existing substation facility just off of Mark Street Court, right at the end of that street. And National Grid is planning to do some maintenance work to replace a transmission structure and a load break switch just outside of that substation facility. The work is planned to take place over the course of a one-week period from Tuesday, May 30th through Tuesday, June 6th. It's that entire week, so it would involve that Saturday and Sunday. Again, this is of a relatively short duration, and it is maintenance work that's necessary to replace a failed switch. The time frame within which National Grid can do this work is affected by the outage availability for the line in coordination with other projects in the greater Boston area. So because of that outage availability, National Grid needs to work from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily during the week, as well as on Saturday and Sunday. So we are seeking, pursuant to the Salem Code of Ordinances, Section 22, we have sought and received the building inspector's approval through a special variance request to do the weekday and Saturday work. That is to begin work at 7 a.m. instead of 8 a.m. And we are here tonight seeking the City Council's approval for the Sunday work, which is required before the building inspector can issue a special variance to work on a Sunday.
As for the work itself, we do expect that any noise disturbance from the work will be minimal. The type of construction vehicles and equipment that would be on-site and will be in use will be bucket trucks, a crane, pickup trucks, and wire pulling equipment. The work will not involve the operation of drilling and/or blasting equipment or any rock crushing machinery or pile driving or jackhammers. Again, the work is scheduled to take place over the course of this 1 week. And just, I want to add one last thing. We did, as a courtesy, reach out to the neighboring residences of March Street Court. We sent them a letter to let them know about the work's duration, and to give them a contact name and number in case they had any questions. And we haven't received any inquiries in response to that. So again, we are asking for the City Council's approval for that Sunday work. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Robert Reese, who's also speaking on National Grid.
Mr. Reese and Mr. Cameron, we're both with National Grid, so unless there are questions.
Oh, we'll wait
They
for
don't need to
the
testify.
hearing for that. Okay, thanks very much. Okay, that's the end of public testimony. Councilor McCarthy?
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to take a brief moment. It's that time of the year again, and I've stood up here many times, and it's as much as we don't like to think about it, I mean, it's going to become prom season again soon, and in doing so, the committee that does the after prom party has reached out to me and again to my wife to again volunteer to do the after prom. And for those of you who don't know what the after prom is, briefly, it's a way to try to keep our kids safe. We provide, the after prom committee secures the Salem YMCA, or the Marblehead YMCA, the big YMCA over on the Salem Marblehead line, and we open up the facility to the participants of the prom and anyone in the senior class who does, if they're not going to the prom, who wants to attend, and we provide them with food, snacks, games. The pool's open, the gym's open. We usually have a bouncy house. We have all sorts of stuff. It depends upon what we try to do for that night. It's one of those things that I volunteered and got roped into a bunch of years ago, as I was told it's a pay forward as my child was going to progress through high school. Then when he became a senior, I wouldn't have to do this. I continue to do it. I look at it as paying back for all those people before me that have done this. So at this time, I have a letter basically from the committee that if anyone wants it, but and anyone at home who feels that this is an important issue as I do, because there was nothing more gratifying to me to make sure that all those kids were safe on prom night, because it's every parent's and everyone's worst fear to think that something could happen to them on prom night. A very exciting night in their lives, but it also is as a parent, a very scary night. And so that's why when my wife called me the other day, she says, I got the call from Lisa, she wants to know if we're in. And I said, but we're done, aren't we? The kids are graduated, they're in college. And so I said, you know what? It's a fun night, I enjoy doing it. It's one night out of my life that I stay up and I watch the sun come up as I'm going to bed. But knowing that I made a difference in a little way to make sure that those kids were safe, it's priceless to me. I know that Councilor Fury and I have been doing it for a while, and Councilor Fury if anyone wants, Councilor Fury reads the biggest book and sits in the locker room and makes sure there's nothing going on in the locker room and no one's going through anyone else's locker, and he just sits there and he reads a book the whole night, and every time I say, Bob, how's it going? I go, it's going great at the front door. There's no problems over there. So, but Lisa Mansfield, anyone who wants to make a donation to it, because we're always looking for stuff, whatever it is, Lisa through at the high school, Lisa Mansfield, her email address is on the website. It's Lisa Mansfield at Salem 12 or whatever it is. But K12.org. It's an important night. It's coming up. And I would encourage my colleagues, if they can, to donate. I would encourage anyone home. Anything. I'll just leave you with this. They do a whole bunch of stuff. But one of the biggest rooms that's filled and has the most people in it is the bingo room. You want to watch a bunch of high schoolers play bingo, and it's because people donate gas cards. a $5 gas card, a $5 card to Dunkin' Donuts or to Starbucks or to wherever, to CVS. These are kids that are going to college, and a $5 gas card or a $5 CVS card when you're in college is like a godsend. And they sit there and they play hard to win these things, and it's a great thing to watch. And I would just, if anyone has the ability, I would just ask them if they could please donate to a great cause. I mean, it's totally outside, it's totally funded by the volunteers, and with their time and with water, you name it. Anything you can think of, we can need. And if anyone's willing to, Lisa, or if they can't find Lisa, they can reach out to me and I'll put them in the right direction. But thank you, Madam President, for the time.
Thank you. Councilor Fieri.
Madam President, for all of us, the senior prom is a life moment for all of us. We can always look back to our senior prom, as I do and all of you do, and it's just a wonderful moment. And all my sons are all graduated and out on their own, and I've been doing it for 15 years. And it's such a win-win program for the kids. I wish we had it when I was growing up, to have a safe prom night afterwards there, in the premier facility, the Salem YMCA, and the big one on off of Loring Avenue. So it's win-win. We hope you take part in it for the kids and the future generations, and life memories. Life memories. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to move that we go out of order to page 14, petitions, and handle the one at the bottom.
Okay, Councilor Terrio moves that we move to page 14. Excuse me. Under petitions, Madam Clerk, the Sammy's Roast Beef.
A request from the new owners of Sammy's Roast Beef located at 17 Canal Street to keep the extended hours granted by City Council in 2006. Current hours are Sunday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., and the Thursday and Saturdays were permanently granted in 2007.
Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this be granted, but also correct this Thursday, Saturday to 2 a.m., not 2 p.m.
Councilor
Just the
Terrio.
hours on there. That's actually what the petition is. That's a, Scrivener's error on that.
I'm sorry, what was it again?
The petition is actually Thursday, Saturday, 11 a.m. to 2 a.m.
2 a.m.
Not to 2 p.m.,
Okay,
yeah. But I move that this be granted.
Okay, Councilor Terrio moves that this be granted. Is there a second?
Awesome.
Okay, and a discussion?
Thank you, Madam President. The owners are here if there's any questions for this, but Sammy's has had these hours for a decade now. Because they recently changed ownership, it was made they were made aware that they have to come back in with the new ownership to have these extended and have it continued under the new ownership. I have no issue with this. I also had a discussion with the chief of police to see if there were any incidents of any note of there, and the chief said, no, there are no issues with it. We don't have any problems with this place. So, thank you for asking, but we have no problem with that continuing. So, so I don't see any reason why we should take away what they've had for a decade, and I would move that this be granted.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Fury.
I think we're all blessed to have family businesses like this in Salem, to keep in Salem, that we invest in Salem. Many of us remember this former establishment as Big Fred's, and that was a big gold mine for years and had a reputation, and now it took over by a family operation, made into Sammy's Restaurant, brand new, family-oriented, friendly, and a great positive asset to the city of Salem for the last 10 years. And now the family's moving on to another adventure, and it's being extended and renewed. And the pizza place across the street that we just gave renewed hours, I think it's going to be positive for our business to stay open like this. That's their lifeline, to stay open at nighttime. And this family business, Maria's restaurant on Jefferson Avenue, and this restaurant, Sammy's, is a big plus to the city of Salem. A family business, family that puts their heart and soul into the every day and makes Salem a better place to be in and dine and do business in. Thank you to the family for reestablishing itself in Salem. A great credit to the city of Salem. Thank you.
Any further discussion? On Councilor Terrio's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? The matter carries.
One opposed.
Councilor Terrio?
Thank you, Madam President. I now move that we again go out of order to page 5, communications from the mayor.
Counselor Terrio moves that we go to page 5. Thank you very much. Okay, communications from the mayor. The appropriation?
The appropriation, the garage.
First thing?
First one.
The first one.
We have an appropriation of $770,000 from capital outlay renovation and repair account to be expended for the repairs of the Museum Place garage stairwells by the Traffic and Parking Department.
Counselor Giroux.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Counselor Giroux moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, Counselor Giroux.
Thank you, Madam President. I also move for adoption.
Counselor Giroux moves for adoption. Under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. This is, while it's expensive, it's a very necessary renovation and repair that has to be done on the museum garage. The stairwells, 3 out of the 4 of them are out of order right now, and the city needs time in order to get the steel to redo the stairs, and where this is, the timeliness of this is very important, and we don't want this to get delayed and go into October. So we really want to get this done as soon as possible. So I'm asking for everyone's support on this. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Counselor Fury.
Madam President, I work at the PBD Essex Museum as a part-time security guard, and so I go to the garage often and park there. And that garage is seeing its age, it's feeling its age. It's very obvious that it needs a lot of input and investment. And people from all around the North Shore, when they come to Salem, they park there. And they go to our restaurants, the PBD Essex Museum where I work, have the pleasure of working. It's a real safe place to work, but it's feeling its age. And whatever we do tonight, it's very positive. We cannot delay this or defer this any at all, because the building is really getting old, and the stairs are really a major asset to get in and out, young and old, who use the downtown to make it a vibrant place all year round. So it's like your investment to your car. If you have any repairs to your car, if you defer, delay, you pay in the long run. And I think it would be in the best interest, even though it's a large investment at this time, it's a wise investment, pay now or pay later. And I think the decision by the administration is very positive and proactive, keeping this garage a vital part of downtown to park and to do so many things that Salem is noted to be in Salem all year round, all seasons, 24/7 situation. And this is a major investment into the city of Salem. Thank you.
Thank you. Counsel Repley, then Counsel Famico.
Thank you, Madam President. This issue for me is very simple. It's public safety. The fact is, I park in that garage almost on a daily basis, and there are 3 stairwells that are closed, and that's because they're too dangerous. We need to fix the stairwells out of public safety. We can talk later on about renovating the garage at another point, but this is to me it's not only it's not even penny wise pound foolish. This is about public safety and making sure that all of our residents who use that garage have a safe place to traverse, and it needs to be done sooner rather than later. We don't have time to wait.
Counsel Famico.
Thank you, Madam President. For this issue in particular, the administration has also reached out to some of the stakeholders on this project, those in the Essex who park in the garage, as well as the downtown business owners. The stairs, for those of who that never got to see them, they had holes that you could actually see through. The metal edging on there was actually removed with some sticking straight out. It wasn't in good condition at all. I'd like to add that longer term, because it's been raised by some of my residents, that the holes that are currently on the roof, I personally thought, well, why can't we just fill it with asphalt? We'll fill it like a pothole. Can't be done. It actually has to be done with the same material, concrete. So they're looking into that, which is separate than this. I'd also just like to commend our traffic and parking director for some of these facelifts. If you go into the garage now, it used to say card holders to enter. There was 2 ones. He put up some nice blue signage with white lettering that will say pass holders instead. And just those little details help give it a facelift. But that, with the stairwells, and a long-term maintenance plan will really help us go a long way.
Any further discussion? Counsel McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. Briefly, the garage used to be in Ward 1, but now, because we redid the lines, it's in Ward 2, so I'm very familiar with the issues of the garage. The former parking director, Mr. Hacker, used to call me probably on every other month basis because we were always having some appropriation coming in front of us. This is This is long overdue. This isn't anything new. This has been going on for years and decades. Anyone who's been involved with the garage knows that there's a water infiltration problem with the building that it's connected to, and it's been ongoing for years. And this is just the result of, the water issues that we're trying to take care of. But as a result of trying to take care of those, we also became aware of these major issues in the stairwells, and they just need to be addressed. It is, my colleague across the aisle stated, it's a public safety issue. It needs to be done, and we just need to appropriate the money and get it done in a timely manner. Irregardless of, it has to get done now. Faster is better. So, it went through the engineering, it went through the process, it went out for bid. They went through, everything's all set up, ready to go. They just need to go ahead to go. And we could bat this around for 2 weeks and come back in 2 weeks, and it's just going to be right back to the same thing, because they've already done all the engineering. They know what has to be done. They have identified it, and they're ready to move. Let's give them the ability to move now.
Councilor Terrio.
Thank you. Briefly, Madam President. I'm in concurrence with my colleagues on this, that this is a necessary issue that needs to be addressed. In recent years, during my 5+ years now on the council, we've had to go in and do maintenance on the building a few times. We've worked on some of the water infiltration issues. We've addressed some problems, but this is one of the biggest leftover ones that remains to be tackled at this point, and it's just gotten to the point where we can't put it off any further. So I think this is it's an unfortunate but really necessary fix on a building that's at this point, I think, 40+ years old. I know it was already 10-15 years old when I moved here, and that was a pretty long time ago at this point. So it was already a fairly old building then. So, it's still standing, it's still sound, but we need to do these things if we want to keep it viable for quite a bit of time to come. And with the issues with that, with the mall underneath it being attached to the structure, we have unique challenges there too. I'd also note that if any members have specific questions about this, we do have the traffic parking director, we have the mayor here, we have members of the administration here to answer any financial or logistical questions that councilors may have. So.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Lovely?
Thank you, Madam President. I don't mean this as a criticism, but there's been a lot going on in this. I appreciate the hard work that's gone on, but I guess I would have liked to know a little bit earlier, if this has been going on since January, that we got a little bit of a heads up about a problem coming forward. I did speak with Tom St. Pierre, with whom I had a long discussion about the garage, and he indicated this is something they've been working on at least since January, if not prior to that. I appreciate that we have to pass this evening. Also, he indicated to me that there's going to be a budget item in the Traffic and Parking Commission to take a complete review, a complete study of the building, and hopefully once that study comes back to the council, into the city, into the council, that we take a look at whether we want to be in the parking lot business or parking garage business. So just as a request, if we could be just an email or something, so we could further be aware of things like this that are in the pipeline, that we don't have to rush around and ask questions prior to something that ordinarily would go to committee. So I didn't object to this evening. I made a telephone call, and everybody has discussed the necessity of it, but a little bit of heads up would go a long way as far as I'm concerned.
Any further discussion? I'd entertain a motion to suspend the rules to allow Mike Luchakowski to speak. I'd kind of like to hear from him.
Sure, so moved.
3 hands? Okay. Mr. Luchakowski? Just to get a sense of how we got here and, your professional assessment.
My name's Mike Luchakowski with the Building Department, as well as Public Properties. This process started back on, let me just take a look at my notes here, late November, about November 21st. Our office was alerted that one of the stairwells somebody actually had stepped through one of the concrete pan stairs and had made the stair in a dangerous condition. We took a look at it. We had a contractor come in and cordon off the area so that stairwell was safe. We had a structural engineer come in, take a look at the project, that specific project. had them look at the other stairs, and it was determined that the other 3 stairwells were in, I believe, catastrophic failure. So we, along with the mayor, who I commend for, nobody wants to hear news like this, took it very professionally. Sarah Stanton from Finance, Matt Smith from Parking, and Whitney Haskell from the Purchasing Office agent. We sat down, we talked about how we would look at this. We knew that this was a situation that we needed to close the stairwells with the structural engineer's findings. We sat down, we closed the stairwells. We looked at the best way to go about this because it's something that we had to, as has been brought today, looked at immediately. It was the Christmas season. We were able to get 5 contractors in to look at the project, to give us a cost, so we could go to the state for an emergency waiver, which would reduce our time to put it out to bid and to find out what that cost would be. We found out what that cost was, and we sent it to the state. We did get our waiver, which reduced our time immensely. We then had an architect put together a bid spec. We put that out to bid. We got the prices back on February 22nd. The prices were right in the range with the initial estimates we got from the initial going for the waiver. The winning contractor was Cronenberger and Sons out of Connecticut. They're actually the contractors who did this building, very reputable. The 5 bidders that we had bid this put everything down because they saw the situation we were in. They held placeholders for basically starting construction in late February, early March. The winning bidder, Cronenberger, actually had a meeting in Connecticut last week, took personal time, sat down with them, put together a schedule, which I believe that Dominic has sent to you, so you could look at, get an idea of time frame. As at 11 o'clock today, Cronenberger did come up, took a look with their structural people, got a better idea of schedule and time frame. Everyone's been very proactive on this. It is, as we say, a safety factor. It's nothing that, unfortunately, nothing that we can let go. Again, the team that worked on this was very professional. They allowed me to do my job, which was get prices initially, get secondary prices once we had that spec to go out, and the prices between the 3 bidders were within $100,000, which was very promising. So, again, we're before you today. This does need to be done. 40 years out of that garage is amazing. Unfortunately, the stairs need to be corrected, but I think this is a rebirth for that building. I know it's a lot of money, but I've stated to what I'll call the group that I worked with that 90% of time spent in a parking garage is spent in the stairwells. I think it's a welcome to the city once these stairs are completed, both from a safety and an appearance factor. I mean, I think there's great benefit out of this. I know Matt Smith has been very proactive about attempting to maintain the building better. He has, as spoken about earlier, we're going to have a summary done on the building, so we're not stopping at this point. So I think that's basically the spiel I can give you in regards to this. If you have any individual questions, please ask.
Councilor Fumiko.
Thank you, Madam President. Question, when this person fell through the stairs, when was that?
It was roughly, we discovered it on November 21st.
Okay. Through the conditions of the stairs, we've all noted that it's been like this for a while. It just seems like it shouldn't have been someone falling through to trigger closing these off. I know that in the past I've personally emailed with holes and things missing. I was just wondering, like, at what point do we check safety and have someone come in when already there were holes and pieces of metal and everything missing?
I can only speak from the 21st on. Our office was never alerted to any issues within the stairwells prior to that point. I think with everything, a 40-year-old building, obviously, at times there's neglect. We overlook things. I think that's just a natural process. But, you know, the idea right now is to move forward, correct the stairs, and then look at the rest of the garage.
I'm in favor of moving forward. I just like some sort of plan going forward that if we have similar problems that we're not waiting for someone to fall through. Because I know for a fact there had been notice prior to that date to different departments, so just that going forward we have a plan so it doesn't get to the point of someone falling through on public property.
Well, I know
I'm glad that this is happening now, and I'm glad that there's art being added to the stairwells too, and hopefully washed down so we don't have some of the smells we have. But and I'm glad you'll be overseeing this, Mike.
That's correct.
Awesome. Thank you.
And Councilor, I will add that I know you commented earlier, Matt Smith has come to me proactively in regards to a few of the items that are beyond the stairwell. He's spoken to myself and Tom St. Pierre in regards to it. So again, there is ongoing thought process to get these items corrected. They all won't be corrected overnight, but this will be, again, a beginning to it.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules. The mayor would like to speak.
So moved.
Thank you.
Just want to clarify a couple of points so that we're all operating on the same place. Just to clarify, somebody tripped in the garage. They didn't fall through. I want to make sure people know there wasn't any loss of life or near loss of life, but it was something that caused us to do an inspection of where did they trip and where did they go and call in a structural report. You'll also note that while the repairs are estimated to cost $1.3 million, we're only asking, we're not taking all of that money because we had money already programmed for waterproofing. And I think I was on the council when we started this process of trying to waterproof that site. The building was never really designed to be two separate buildings, so we definitely struggle between the garage and what's below it and water infiltration. A good portion of the funding has been done looking at expansion joints. That's been directed by engineering reports. We're still seeing water infiltration. Sometimes it's us, sometimes it's the building owner below in terms of pipes and HVAC systems. So it's really tricky chasing down these leaks and trying to understand where they come. The other maintenance issue we've been struggling with is electricity and the lights. Because of some of the water infiltration and the age of the building, there's water in the electrical system. Like even the newer upgrades we just made with the automatic ticketing, we had to hard pipe everything. It's a beast of a building, I guess is my point, in terms of trying to keep the water infiltration out, trying to address better maintenance. We had somebody trip, and we were looking at waterproofing platforms. You know, there are 4 different levels, several different pieces to it, and there's sort of a grid pattern that we've been working on to address that. The stairwells were not the highest part of the triage. When this happened and we did the inspection, it became clear, okay, we've got to move it up the list. So we're trying to be proactive, I guess, is what I want to let you know with respect to making repairs to this building. And we didn't really have anything to come forward to with the council until we had prices. We knew there were some questions. We wanted to make sure we kept everybody safe. But I just want to be clear, it's a tough building at times. We do utilize it, obviously, all the time. So closing off sections when we can do work, that's a tricky issue as well, trying to manage that. We are looking forward to getting these stairwells done. And, you know, Matt, the whole team here, Whitney, everyone's worked really hard. Mike, and trying to figure out what's the best way to address this circumstance while not losing sight of the fact that we still have waterproofing needs. We've looked at putting a roof on that site. I mean, there's newer technology that's coming, epoxies and things like that can help. But we're still chasing leaks. This is a necessary thing. We appreciate the council expediting it. We've been working hard to expedite it and to get it to you with as much information as possible, so we can address this and make the garage as user-friendly as possible. The new signage, the new card-holding system and how we pay, like any other garage you use has had the take your ticket with you when you go. So we are making investments in this facility. Just wanted you to have the perspective of some of the struggles as we try to do that.
Councilor Repley.
Thank you, Madam President. Mayor, I'm just curious if for the upcoming FY18 budget,
yep,
is an overhaul of the museum garage part of the capital improvement project?
Yeah, so we're still making budget decisions. We're still trying to close the budget gap on the operating budget. I do think we'll be looking to make some additional expenditures, and they will be driven by some of the engineering analysis regarding the best way to attack some of these leaks. the exterior of the garage on the part that isn't owned by us, some of the overhangs from Museum Place Mall. We're trying to work with the Museum Place Mall owners to better understand how we can address the aesthetics and obviously also some of these issues around leaks. So I can't tell you for certain we're going to have some major overhaul going on. We are going to continue to attack the issue. And this council has, in our city, has invested mightily in this structure and trying to waterproof it and update it. And the new automated system was $300,000 for both garages. All right, $500,000 for both of them. And those are things that are necessary in terms of access for us, tracking resources, but it's an investment in a parking facility. So we are trying, is the point I'm trying to make to you, to make it a facility that is easy for the user, provides the parking that's necessary that we need, and also chase all these maintenance issues. So lights are on there, for instance. There's some other I would put under the safety headings that we know we have to try and tackle. So I expect there'll be a CIP request.
Any other questions or discussion? No? Okay, on Councilor Gerard's motion to adopt? All those in favor? Opposed? The matter carries.
Do you want roll call or no? So can I move for immediate reconsideration in the hopes it does not prevail?
Sure. Councilor Gerard moves for immediate reconsideration on the hopes that it will not prevail. All those in favor? All those opposed?
Opposed.
The matter does not carry. All right, thank you. Now we will return,
I move we return to the regular meeting.
Thank you. We'll return to page 1.
3.
Page 3, okay, hearings.
Ordered that Verizon to install a conduit from Derby Street to the property located at 24 Fort Avenue.
Okay, is there anybody here to speak in favor? Thank you. Can you please state your name and your address?
Thank you, Madam President. For the record, my name's Everett Bryan. I'm a right-of-way engineer with Engineering and Data Solutions representing Verizon New England at 125 High Street in Boston. Our petition this evening... Is there a way to turn this on?
That microphone's just a record, that doesn't
Yeah.
broadcast.
You just have to project your voice.
Speak up a little.
That's fine.
Our petition this evening is to place approximately 10 feet of underground conduit on Derby Street, and this is necessary in order to provide service to number 24 Fort Avenue for the footprint power Salem Harbor project. And I spoke with Dave Knowlton this afternoon, the city engineer, and I informed him we could access this manhole from the sidewalk, since the cover of the manhole is only about 4 feet off the curb. So we could actually dig in the sidewalk and hit the sidewall of the manhole without excavating in the street. So Derby Street is a newly resurfaced street. And he said he had no issues with that at that time.
Thank you. Anybody else to speak in favor? Anybody speaking opposed? Councilors have any questions? Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. My only question, and it's more of a, just to coordinate the activities with the ongoing construction on the site. It sounds like you've been proactive and are going to limit the impact, but obviously with everything that's going down there, they just had the water main replaced, which is on the other side of the street from where you're looking to do the work, and that whole area down there is inundated with truck traffic and whatnot, so just as long as you coordinate with the facility itself, if you need to, you can email me and I'll put you in contact with their people with regards to who you need to be speaking to over there. But I mean, I believe this, and this is for their administration building, is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so it's not a long dig, and it's right near the street, so I mean, obviously, it's something we need to move forward with, but just to make sure that it's done in a timely manner, and then B, it's done in coordination with all the other activities that are going on that street.
Any further questions? Councilor Famico.
Not my ward, but to help out Councilor McCarthy, to, when you do this, to actually have notification given to the workers not to park in the temporary resident parking zone, which is right near there. It's typically not resident parking, but it is right now, and it is a concern of Bob's in that area, right?
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you. It is a concern, but obviously, you cannot not park an excavator and a truck in the zone, and that's, I mean, we had the water main replaced, and then we had trucks all over the place. I mean, obviously, to limit the amount of impacts, but from what's been said, it's going to be a short term. It's not going to be, you're not planning on being 2 days.
1 to 2 days.
1 to 2 days, so, I mean, obviously, short term, just try to limit the impacts, obviously, on the neighbors, and just coordinate those activities with footprint.
Right.
Thank you.
Just the workers there, people, although it's not the actual equipment, people might not realize it's your project and might blame the power plant again. And then also just to make sure that the sidewalk's swept up after. When Bob had work done the other week, or when the Good Ward 1 counselor, sorry to use Bob, they hadn't swept up after, and I blamed the power plant for it, and they told me, no, it actually wasn't the power plant, it was the people who had done this other work, and the city engineer had someone out there right away.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Council McCarthy?
Thank you, Madam President. I move the hearing be closed.
Council McCarthy moves that the hearing be closed. All those in favor? All those opposed? Hearing's
I
closed.
further move that the petition be granted.
Council McCarthy moves that the petition be granted. All those in favor? All those opposed? The petition's granted. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's reappointment of James Danworth to serve as a constable with a term to expire February 1st, 2020.
Council Ryan.
Thank you, Madam President. Move, received, and placed on file.
Councilor Ryan moves that this be received and placed on file. All those in favor? All those opposed? The matter carries. Communications from the mayor.
We have an appropriation of $44,726.55 from Retirement Stabilization Fund Vacation Sick Leave Buyback Account for the contractual buyback for Robert Griffith of the Fire Department.
Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Madam President. Move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Gerard moves for suspension of rules. Any objection? Seeing none. Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Madam President. I also move that this be adopted.
Councilor Gerard moves for adoption. Under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. This is largely routine. We want to thank firefighter Griffith for his time in our fire department, and he is happily retiring.
Any further discussion? On Councilor Gerard's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? The matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an appropriation of $40,000 from fund balance free cash account to the fire department medical account.
Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Madam President. I also move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Gerard moves for suspension of the rules. Any objection? Seeing none. Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Madam President. I also move for adoption.
Under discussion.
Thank you. This is largely routine. This is just a simple fund balance for the medical costs for the firefighters.
Any further discussion? On Councilor Gerard's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? The matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an appropriation of $35,000 from capital outlay renovation and repairs account to be expended for the repairs of pipes and valves in the pump house at the old Salem Green.
Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Gerard moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Madam President. I also move that this be adopted.
Under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. This is to pay for repairs at the pump house and the old Salem Green and our fantastic golf course, and this is actually also going to help the electric costs at the green as well, so strongly in favor of this.
Any further discussion? On Councilor Gerard's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? The matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an appropriation of $13,255.75 from capital outlay equipment account to be expended for audio-visual equipment for the CID interviews by the police department.
Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Seeing no objection, Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Madam President. I also move that this be adopted.
Under discussion?
Thank you, Madam President. This is a request from the police department that our criminal investigations division found that the cameras and the audio equipment were outdated, and that could potentially be a problem legally, and so they need to get these updated as soon as possible. So strongly recommend this appropriation.
Any further discussion? On Councilor Gerard's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an appropriation of
Just before we tackle this one, Madam President, if I could point out that because of the nature of this, which requires a 2/3 vote, with Councilor Dibble not here, we do not have 8 members. Given the amount of this, I think we only have one member of the body who's directly employed by either of these bodies, so I think this is a case where we could use the rule of
Rule of
necessity to
necessity.
allow the other two people who are tangentially affected by this back into the room to make this a legal vote on our part, especially given the very trivial amount involved here.
Counselor Epley?
That addressed my concern. It's $150, Madam President.
Counselor McCarthy?
I wholeheartedly agree. I think that the rule of necessity needs to be, I mean, it's for the amount we're talking about. I know that Counselor Ryan's has family members, but I don't think they're affected by this, and so, directly affected by this, so we need one more at least.
Counselor Ryan? We have to
Madam
take a vote?
President, I think that I also believe that Counsel Brown only has to indicate what conflict he has, he just has to identify that it's, I think it's
You
simple.
can file something with the solicitor.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a matter of, I mean, we have to do it.
Okay. Counselor McCarthy?
Thank you. Actually, did we already read it?
No.
We have an appropriation of
sorry.
$150.71 in accordance with Chapter 44, Section 64 of the Mass General Law for outstanding fiscal year 16 Police Department invoices to be paid from fiscal year 2017 police budget to the North Shore Medical Center.
Counselor McCarthy?
Thank you, Madam President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Counselor McCarthy moves for suspension of the rules, seeing no objection. Counselor McCarthy?
Thank you, Madam President. I also move for adoption.
Under discussion?
It's just housekeeping. We kind of did this it's just the tail end of it. It's just the last little amount to make everything squared away. It's dotting the i's and crossing the t's, and it's $150 or whatever the exact amount is. So I would move for approval.
Any further discussion? Seeing none. On Counselor McCarthy's...
Madam President,
sorry.
I would also ask that it be by roll call vote. It has to be, it's required.
Okay. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Counselor Terrio?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Ryan?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy? Counselor Lovely?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Famico?
Yes.
Counselor Epley?
Yes.
Counselor Milo?
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of the appropriation for $150.71, we have 9 counselors voting, 2 absent, 9 in the affirmative. The matter carries. Thank you. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order to accept a donation of $1,050 from the Notch Brewery for a donation to No Place for Hate Fund.
Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this be adopted.
Councilor Gerard moves for adoption. Under discussion?
Thank you. Just briefly, this originally came in and it was a simple Scribner's error in the letter, and so we withdrew it in committee, and so this is the new order, and this is going to the mayor's donation fund, and there's a line for No Place for Hate.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Under Councilor Gerard's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? The matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order to accept a donation for $1,000 from Kevin Miller's CCB Union for Veterans Donation Fund.
Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for approval. I move for adoption.
Under discussion?
Thank you. Just quickly, the CCB union is actually a union with Footprint Power, and they raised the money and they made the decision to donate it to our Veterans Donation Fund. So just want to say thank you so much for their generosity. And I know that Kim Emmerling greatly appreciates this, our veterans.
Any further discussion? On Councilor Gerard's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? The matter carries. Mayor's informational page.
We have a communication from the mayor informing the city council of recently receiving $1.1 million in debt savings due to bond refinancing.
Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this be received and filed.
Under discussion?
Just briefly, if anybody has any questions about this, you can contact the finance director. And this is a great situation for us that we're getting $1.1 million back. So it's fantastic.
Thank you. On Councilor Gerard's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? The matter carries. Motions, orders, and resolutions. Counselor Gerard.
I don't know why I said. City of Salem in the year 2017, in order to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap parking, limited time, Tremont Street in front of number 74 for a distance of 20 feet, handicap parking tow zone. Section 2, this order shall take effect as provided by city charter. I move for adoption for first passage.
Thank you. Under discussion?
Thank you, Madam President. Just briefly, the constituent had reached out to me, and I asked Lieutenant Brzezinski to look into it, and he also brought it before the Traffic and Parking Commission, who all were in favor of this, and so I strongly support this as well.
Any further discussion? On Counselor Gerard's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? The matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Counselor Gerard.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem and City Council, March 9th, 2017, ordered that the monthly financial report dated January 31st, 2017, be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance. And I move that this be adopted.
Under discussion?
No discussion.
Thank you. Any further discussion? On Counselor Gerard's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? The matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Counselor Ryan.
Excuse me, it's going to be a little long. Resolution, whereas on February the 27th, in the year 2014, the Salem City Council adopted a non-discrimination policy that states, no individual shall be denied equal treatment or opportunity as a result of his or her age, ancestry, color, disability, family status, gender, identity or expression, military status, marital status, national origin, race, religion, sex, or sexual orientation. Whereas it is the policy of the City of Salem to uphold the human rights of all persons in Salem and the free exercise and enjoyment of any and all rights and privileges secured by the constitutions, laws, ordinances, and regulations of the United States, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and the City of Salem. Whereas the city prohibits actions that may deny or tend to deny an individual equal access or opportunity in matters of housing, employment, education, municipal services, contracts, purchasing, or public accommodations on the basis of age, ancestry, color, disability, family status, gender, identity or expression, military status, marital status, national origin, race, religion, sex, or sexual orientation. Whereas it is estimated that more than 11 million unauthorized immigrants currently reside in the United States. Whereas the U.S. Congress, up until now, has failed to pass immigration reform in direct response to the issue of unauthorized immigrants. Whereas the Salem City Council recognizes immigration reform is a federal matter which can only be resolved by congressional action, the City of Salem Council also recognizes its obligation to serve and support all residents of Salem. Be it now resolved that the Salem City Council urges our congressional delegation make every effort to reach across the aisle in Washington to achieve federal comprehensive immigration reform that at a minimum, one, creates a short, accessible, and workable roadmap to legal residency for undocumented individuals living in the United States without obstacles that fall disproportionately on women, LGBTQ and transgender people, people with disabilities, children, youth, low-wage workers, and low-income families, and two, provide a pathway of citizenship for undocumented students who came to this country as children, and three, streamline high-tech visas that support the economy, and four, create programs or expansions of existing programs that provide alternatives to detention as a more balanced way to ensure compliance with immigration laws. And five, keep our country safe while reflecting the values on which our nation was founded. And six, protects the safety of its citizens while remaining as a refuge for those who are persecuted and seeking a better life through legal immigration. Under discussion.
What's your motion?
This is a resolution I want to send to our congressional delegation.
Okay.
To let them know that they need to get their act together, and it's not all of Congress, but as a whole, issues that we're facing with people being afraid about being deported. The whole process, like former Councilor Prevey was talking about, trying to become a citizen and how expensive it is, and if you make one mistake, it sets you back. As he had his experience, my brother, his wife, she had to go back to Peru, and she's been gone since 2011. There's people I've spoken to that it makes, if you make one mistake, it's so complicated and it's so expensive, and that's why, one of the reasons why we have so many undocumented immigrants, people that want to become citizens. And if you go on, we did some research, Councilor Milo, you had contacted Seattle, and they had sent a resolution back in 2013. So like Councilor Prevey said, if we all get together and start sending something, maybe they'll do something about this and help these people who want to become citizens. We're all immigrants. Our families all came from somewhere else. We came here for a better life. And you feel bad when you see some of these stories, what's going on now, and Salem being so inclusive. And then it got me thinking back a couple of years back when city clerk had given me, back when Lincoln had passed away in 1860s, the Salem City Council had sent something right to Washington, and like just stuff like that. I'm like, that's stuff we can do. We don't have control over those laws, but at least we can push our delegation. I think Congressman Moulton is probably on our side. I mean, he's doing a pretty good job, as well as Congressman Taney before him. So that's why I just want to send a message to Congress that you need to do something, because it's so expensive and so complicated for some of these people who are trying to make their life better. And then it just helps everybody else. So.
Are you moving for adoption?
Move for adoption, yes.
Okay.
If someone wants to send a committee, I don't have a problem with that either.
Okay, further discussion. Councillor Epley, Councillor Fury, Councillor Gerard. Councillor Turio.
I second the motion, and I will go on to say that I'm in full support of Councillor Ryan's resolution. I think it's a good first step in making sure that our federal delegation and our Congress actually does something, because that's the reason why we have the situation that we're in and that we've been in for 30 years. I think it's a great first step, and I'll be in complete support of it when we vote on this evening. It's a great first step, and a great second step will be on March 29th, when we have a discussion about the Sanctuary for Peace Ordinance, in which we're dealing with the situation of ensuring that all of our local residents, whether they be documented or undocumented, feel comfortable calling the police. That's a local issue. This is a federal issue that Councilor Ryan is bringing up, but it's a local issue on ensuring that we have a safe and appropriate response for our immigrants here within the city to feel comfortable calling the police, and so that they are also not crying in classrooms about the fear of being deported, given the fact that the current occupant of the White House has taken the positions that he has, the extreme positions that he has. So I am in complete support, and I would encourage my colleagues on March 29th, when we have the public meeting, that we take a vote on that as well, and that hopefully that can be unanimous.
Councillor Fury.
Yes, Madam President, I noticed Councilor Ryan's wearing green tonight, and I'm wearing the green tonight to celebrate our Irish heritage. And tomorrow morning, we'll be celebrating Senator Lovely at the Pins. We're celebrating St. Patrick's Day in Salem at Pins from 7 to 9, and having a wonderful time to celebrate our heritage. It wasn't only a while ago, 1980, with under President Carter and future President Reagan, Ted Kennedy running for president back then, the highest undocumented illegal residents in the country were the Irish. And it was echoed several times in St. Peter's Church and different other forums on the sanctuary city there. We have come a long way, but we have a long way to go. And thank you very much for doing this, Councilor Ryan. Thank you.
Councillor Gerard.
Thank you, Madam President. I definitely agree with my colleagues that I think that this is a great first start. I'm a little, I kind of want this to go to committee just to suss it out a little bit more and discuss further what this will say to Congress, because having the short, accessible, workable roadmap, like what exactly does that mean? What exactly does that look like? Because I worry if we say you got to do something and then they do something that doesn't work or continues not to work for people. You know, my ex-sister-in-law was from Kazakhstan, and it took about 3 years in excess of over $10,000 for her to get her citizenship. So this is a very serious and very personal issue, and But I just want to make sure that this is worked out correctly. I think that this should go to a committee to just discuss further, maybe public health, safety, and the environment.
Is that a motion?
Motion. Move to public health,
second?
safety, and the environment.
Is there, Councilor Miko, is that a second?
I'll second that under discussion.
Okay, under discussion?
Yeah. Through this, I think it's great as well, but I think it would be great to also discuss, we keep having people reach out to our own members of Congress, but to also think outside of our area, are there any people that are right in the middle of that could be a swing, not even in Massachusetts, but elsewhere, that we could be reaching out to about this? Because a lot of this, like Moulton and Elizabeth Warren, they're getting so many letters recently about certain things that they're already in support of, that maybe we should be focusing our efforts on those in the middle of the road people elsewhere to say, hey, here in Salem, this is what we're thinking, so to put that in as another extent as well. But it is good to tackle things at the local level, at the state level, and at the federal level.
Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I would rather this not go to committee, and I would rather this be adopted. I think what we're looking at here is, it's not our job to figure out what the details of the roadmap are. We're trying to ask our delegation to work with other delegations to create such a roadmap. And if we can get to, it'll be miraculous if we can get the federal government to get to this point. But I think it's a noble effort on our part to try. I do agree with what I agree very strongly with my colleague who brought this in, that this is a statement that needs to be made, and a direction we need. And hopefully this is something that other cities in other parts of the country that are less, or at least believe they should be less receptive to immigration reform. I hope this message does ultimately get delivered to those delegations as well. We do have, as the Ward 4 councilor pointed out, we do have a meeting coming up on this in just a couple short weeks from now, the day it gets closer. We will have a very good discussion on the ordinance that is before us at that point. I, too, hope that ultimately, with our questions answered, that this is something that the body agrees needs to go forward when that happens. But in the meantime, this is a good statement that we can make now. This is a good message, and this sends a signal as well, regardless of the fact that, yes, our delegation here in Massachusetts is going to be a delegation that's strongly in favor of improving the immigration process, but part of the reason that a lot of people in this country are undocumented is because it's so difficult to become a citizen. It's so difficult to get to pass one of the quotas. It's so difficult to get a green card, and it takes so much time and so much money for so many people that they don't have, that we wind up with people. I know people who came here legally, married American citizens, and became undocumented until they get things ordered. And I have a friend who couldn't leave the country for a couple of years because they were in kind of a limbo where it was okay for them to be here, but they couldn't come back in if they left. So this is the kind of thing that does need to be tackled at the federal level, and I really support us doing so. And this is a good first step in the kind of message we want to share with our community and with the residents of Salem, that this is something that matters. And a lot of people think it doesn't really matter for them, but ultimately it matters, and it matters for everybody. It's part of what makes having this kind of thing tackled on a national level is the kind of thing that will help keep this country great.
Thank you. Any further discussion on Councilor Girard?
Thank you, Madam President. Just quickly, I agree with what was just said, that this absolutely does matter, and where this is such a hot topic right now, and I'm looking at the chair for No Place for Hate, that it would be really helpful to have the No Place for Hate committee's input on this, as well as members of the public, because I know that, and I'm sure all of us have been getting contacted by constituents within our wards, outside of our wards, about the ordinance that we're going to discuss on the 29th, but about immigration in general, and there's a lot of concern, and this is an opportunity to have further public input. I think that, I think that my colleague did a fantastic job on putting this together, but I would just like to have further discussion in the committee.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. As I was talking to my colleague across the aisle, I forgot to wear my green tie tonight. And I don't know why. I know it's been a busy week at work, and I don't know, when I got here, I was like, ooh, I forgot. And it's something that we can't forget. We are all sons and daughters of immigrants. My mother immigrated here herself. My father's grandparents immigrated here way back in the day. And I will just say, this is a first step. This is separate from what's going to happen less than a month from now. This is just a way of saying, you know what? We're going to be trying to deal with this at a local level in a couple weeks, but it's our way of saying at the federal level, stop kicking the can down the road, and let's get this done, because I mean, all of a sudden it becomes a hot topic, and then they go into their meetings and they go bat it back and forth, and then nothing seems to get resolved, and it gets kicked down the road to the next group or to the next midterm election or whatever's going to happen. But it's just our way of saying, as a body, and anyone else can petition or send whatever they want to our congressional delegation. But it's just our body way of saying, you know what? Let's try to work this out, reach out, as it says, reach out across the aisle, because obviously we live in a state that would be very receptive to any kind of reforms, and some people who represent states that may not be quite as receptive, that they reach out to those and find out where the common ground is and what can be agreed to make it easier and safer for everyone. So I understand why colleagues would want to try to keep it in committee, get more input. It's well written, it was well done. I commend them for bringing it in, and I think that as my former colleague, Councilor Prevey, I mean, I can remember when I was first elected, when Saul was first here, and then Saul had to leave, and then we spent a lot of time together because Saul was out of the country, and it was it was very difficult for them, and it's very difficult for anyone who has to go through that. I would just wholeheartedly hope that we would just pass this tonight and then deal with what we have to deal with in a couple weeks. But I think I commend the good at-large council for bringing it in, and I think it's just, as was stated, it's a perfect first step. There's a lot of more steps along the way, but it's just a simple message that we're resolved, that our congressional delegations really needs to bring this to the front as opposed to keeping it in the back.
Thank you. Councillor Sargent.
Thank you, Madam President. I don't believe the wording's so important as to just asking the federal government to work on this issue a little bit harder. The main thing is that we're not trying to make federal law, and it's not just immigration. We've been asked before, years ago, to work on the Patriot Act, a document that came in after the war on terror began that was probably about this thick, half a phone book. Every city council in the country couldn't read. All the senators and congressmen probably didn't read. They had aides read them and recommend changes to them. So we were asked to vote on the Patriot Act. That's clearly the work of the federal government, with full-time staff members to work on things like this. And immigration is a national issue. I mean, it affects every city and people all over the country, but it's something that our borders have to be dealt with on a national, scale. And regardless of how we're wording this, we're simply, if every city in the country asks their federal representatives to work on this issue, that's pretty powerful, coming from elected officials at the local level, instead of trying to change federal law or make little changes or end runs around federal law, even though with good intentions. I think that sends a good message to our federal representatives, to our Congress, to our Senate, that all the cities are on the same page to trying to get this issue worked out. I mean, because we all want to see peace-loving people, regardless of where they came from, how they got here, hard-working people have a good life. But on the same page, we want to see people who aren't doing the right things in our country, that aren't supposed to be here, dealt with in another way, as all other past immigrant groups were. All through history, if you got caught doing the wrong thing, you may have been sent back to where you came from. And I don't think that's unreasonable for people to ask the small percent of criminal element to be dealt with also. So when we ask the federal government to do reform, it's to reform to help good people stay and continue to get bad people out. And that puts the whole nation on the same page. Federal, executive, legislative, city, state, local, federal, all on the same page. And as far as path to citizenship, one of my pet peeves on that has always been, that I don't think there's a clear path to citizenship for the one most important way, and that's serving our military, especially in a time of war. I know people who have served in our military, done 2 tours of Iraq, 1 of Afghanistan, and they aren't yet a legal citizen. And I think that's a shame. When you serve our military and put yourself in harm's way, that should be stamped citizen, no doubt about it. So I think this is a great way to do things, that we're not trying to act like senators and congressmen on a federal level. We're just asking them to help us. So, thank you.
Okay, just to remind everybody, we're still discussing Councilor Gerard's motion to move this to committee. Councilor Ryan, did you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem if it's going to go to committee. I mean, it's going to be from the whole council anyway, and it's not like they're going to get it and like, oh, geez, I got something from the Salem City Council, we got to do something. If it were that powerful, different story. Maybe a long time ago they might have been like that, but it's from everybody, so I don't have a problem. I mean, it's going to be an issue. It's been an issue forever. It's going to be an issue. I mean, if we want to go in committee, I don't have a problem with that. If we want to send it, that's fine. Either way, I just want this council to send a message to them saying, please do something. Because until someone does it, like the Lorax, like I always think of that, until one person does something, I mean, eventually something could happen. So that's why I just send a message, say, you need to do something about immigration status, getting people to become legal citizens so we don't have the problem of undocumented people.
Any further discussion? Councilor Repley.
Very quickly, I'm going to be voting no to put it in committee because I think we can make this statement tonight. I think that Councilor Ryan's statement is dead on, and we should just vote on this tonight and get it passed.
Councilor Turiel.
Thank you, Madam President. In line with that, I would move the question.
Okay, on Councilor Gerard's motion to put this in committee, all those in favor? All those opposed?
Opposed.
The matter doesn't carry. On Councilor Ryan's motion for adoption, any further discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? The matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Hepley.
Speaking of the Lorax.
The Lorax, yeah.
City of Salem and the City Council, March 9, 2017, ordered that the enclosed letter from the Lorax Task Force with their fiscal year 2018 budget recommendations be received and placed on file.
Councilor Repley moves that this be received and placed on file. Into discussion?
Thank you, Madam President. Very briefly, the Lorax Committee, which is the Leaf-Oriented Resiliency and Arboricultural Expansion Task Force.
Wow.
Try to say that twice fast. Has been meeting for the course of almost the past year. It's a committee of, it's a task force of several folks from around the city having an interest in making sure that we have more trees and the trees that we do have are planned for and treated properly. What I have in the letter to both the mayor and to you, Madam President, is essentially just recounting the fact that at least as of last year, there were 180 trees, and that's about the rate that we've taken down trees on an annual basis. But last year, we only budgeted $5,000 with our budget to plant trees. And even with all of the grants across the city, combined with that $5,000, we only planted about 40 or 45 trees last year, Madam President, and that is not a sustainable project. So to take advantage of the budget season, as the mayor and the administration are putting together their budget in concert with Sean McRae, who is our new assistant director at DPS, the Lorax Committee has come up with a proposal to have approximately to have a line item for $75,000 for tree planting, and also a $75,000 supplementation for subcontractor work to do tree pruning, removal, and stump grinding, which that is also a huge backlog that we have within DPS. What the $75,000 will do, Madam President, is essentially plant approximately 200 trees at taxpayer expense, but 200 trees on the to be determined, but on the streets of major corridors and so forth, that's all to be determined. This is, again, just a recommendation to the mayor. And that we not only have this line item, but that we also have a supplementation for this year, this fiscal year, which ends on June 30, of an additional $48,000, which goes at essentially the same rate as what's being proposed for fiscal year 2018. This is a proposal to be brought again to the mayor, and then will come to our Administration and Finance Committee to be hashed out. This is what Lorex is looking for, and we hope that when it does come before this body, that we can get this body's support when we pass the final. And I'm certainly open to any questions, but that's essentially where we're at this point.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Councillor Epley's motion. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councillor.
Thank you, Madam President. Everly file. City of Salem and City Council, March 9, 2017, ordered that the City Council Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs review and make recommendations to the full council concerning a City Council rule that would state that a vote to send an appointment or reappointment to a city board or commission to committee shall be voted on without debate, so that the person who is being recommended for appointment or reappointment will have the opportunity to be present at the committee meeting to answer questions.
Thank you.
And it's late, so it's non-debatable, so thank you.
Councillor Ryan. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councillor Ryan.
City Council, March 9, 2017, ordered that the Park and Recreations Department raise the Irish flag at Raleigh Plaza on March 16, 17, 2017 in honor of St. Patrick's Day.
And your motion is?
Motion is to have the, to raise the flag.
Okay.
We do this every year for, Councilor O'Leary brought it in. There really should be no discussion, but.
I move to suspend the rules to allow discussion and to also have passage this evening.
Thank you.
Like
seeing
Councilor
no
McCarthy
objection?
said, I went to go put my tie on, and I thought of Councilor McCarthy, because every year he puts it on, and I just happened to see the green tie, and I'm like, I have more of that one. So I put it on, and I was thinking of him, made me think of Councilor McCarthy, which reminded me to go to the city clerk and say, we need to do that order, which we usually bring in every year. And they do it for the Polish and everyone, different nationalities. I just think it's something fun to do, and it's in honor of Councilor O'Leary, who's the ward councilor for 24, 25 years. I brought it in every year. I think he started it. I'm pretty sure. It's been going on as long as I've remembered, but that's what, it's St. Patrick's Day coming up a week from tomorrow.
Thank you. Any further discussion on Councillor Ryan's motion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Committee reports. Councillor Ryan?
Tag day is the first one. All right. Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs, whom has referred the matter of granting certain licenses, said matter, and recommend approval. Tag days. Can you read that? Tag days, girls soccer is 9/23/17 and 10/14/2017.
On acceptance and motion for acceptance?
On acceptance of the report.
Right.
Acceptance of the committee report.
Yeah. On acceptance of the committee report, all those in favor? All those opposed? On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
No discussion.
On Councillor Ryan's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further committee reports. Councillor Ryan.
Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs, to whom referred the matter of 2 taxi operator hearings, has considered said matter and would recommend that Leonardo Reyes' license be granted and that Edwin Gonzalez's license be granted contingent upon required documents to be submitted to Officer Page.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
No discussion.
Any further discussion on Councillor Ryan's recommendation? All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further committee reports. Councillor Giroux.
City of Salem and City Council, March 9th, 2017. The Committee on Administration and Finance co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of adopting a resolution and authorizing a tax increment finance agreement to Nomkeg LLC for property located at 131 to 135 Boston Street to build out, renovate, and lease to A&J King, has considered the said matter and would recommend approval.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? On adoption of the recommendation, Counselor Giroux?
Under discussion?
Discussion.
So, we actually had a brief meeting about this. We, actually, Andrew Shapiro from the Planning Department is here tonight if we had any further questions. He shared a document with us that actually the total amount that we would be granting in the 5-year TIF is going to be actually less than $42,000, which is less than half of what was originally projected. And it was voted unanimously in the committee and strongly recommend approval.
Any further discussion? Councilor Repley.
Thank you, Madam President. As the Ward 4 counselor, and specifically to the Boston corridor, this will be a tremendous asset. This is going into the old Peters Laundry building that's been vacant for a few years now, and will frankly be will be an attraction, frankly, for the entire neighborhood. And I know that the neighbors will be thrilled to have it.
That's a good way to put it, an attraction. On Councilor Gerard's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? The matter carries. Further committee reports. Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem and City Council, March 9, 2017. The Committee on Government Services co-posted with Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of the reappointment of David Hart to the Salem Historical Commission, has considered said matter and would recommend that his reappointment with a term to expire on March 1st, 2020 be confirmed by a roll call vote.
Thank you. On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion?
Thank you, Madam President. I would actually defer to Councilor Famico first, and then I'll speak afterwards if that be the will of the board.
Sure. Councilor Famico.
Thank you, Madam President. I first brought this up at our last council meeting, and I wanted to just say at the council meeting, now that it's being filmed on SATV, that some of the quotes that I had said during that meeting were a little bit incorrect, and I brought that into a letter last night that was submitted into record for that. There was a couple other people that spoke as well, and things weren't as in line as they should have been. I also want to let councilors know that I spoke to staff planner Patty Kelleher today as well. I saw her in person in the office and apologized to her for this mishap and the miscommunication. But out of that, she actually told me, and it's reconfirmed now, that the Historic Commission's actually in the process of creating a how-to guide for residents, and she said that hopefully that can help frustrating situations such as the evening in question. And she's in the process of working on that with the Historic Commission, so hopefully it'll be a little bit easier for everyone going forward. I'd also like to note on this that just the overall importance of our boards and commissions. A lot of times when the public see things, all of a sudden it's a new building up in our downtown or someplace else, and they automatically will go right on the administration of the council, but a lot of these decisions actually do take place from our boards and commissions, whether it's the design of buildings, the plantings that go in, parking design, a little of everything. It can be what you see in your day-to-day. I'm still not going to be voting in favor of this tonight, just because ultimately we are the final sounding board of these votes, and I don't dispute the fact that Mr. Hart has great knowledge of historic architecture and that he served the city well, and also that he has a great preservation mind for that. I just personally don't feel it's the right fit for right now, but I would like to also apologize the processes took place. I'm thankful that the at-large counselor brought in that late file that we can't talk about. But things like that and the public input that came out through last night's meeting and also some emails I received today help us look at the ways we're doing things and to update them when needed to be for that. So thank you, Counselor, for bringing that in. And for the counselors for letting that go to committee and having this all come out for the conversation.
Thank you. Councilor Sargent.
Thank you again, Madam President. Yes, of course, I wholeheartedly recommend David, and I feel strongly that the city benefits from his expertise on the board, as well as his helping to plan a lot of things that don't always get shown in the public. historical commission meetings aren't always on TV as we are tonight, and there's a lot of good work done behind the scenes by all the boards in the city, and that board in particular. It's hard to weigh making somebody's building look historic with the money that sometimes has to be paid. I know I don't live in a historic neighborhood, and I can do certain things to my house that I wouldn't be able to do in a historic neighborhood, and we're very grateful for the people who buy those houses and in essence give us a tourist attraction for free by taking care of each one of those houses. I mean, in Disneyland, imagine somebody owning each attraction and taking care of it for free for Walt Disney World, and they don't have to worry about any upkeep of it. We have all these people who upkeep all of our buildings, and tourists come and walk all around Salem, spend money at a lot of businesses in the meantime, and I think we owe them a lot of gratitude, and that historical commission is a big cog in that. And that's why I brought in that order as far as having no questions be asked that can't be answered by somebody until we get into committee. So people will be there to ask questions and answer at the same time, instead of some questions being asked here and answered later on. And I do want to thank Councilor Fumiko for being so very gracious. It's not easy to go back, and she went back and looked at the meetings and double-checked her work, and came forward at the meeting and tonight to re-explain some things. And I think it was very gracious and a good way to do government. So thank you. And so with that, I'd ask for a roll call vote.
Okay, Councilor Terrio?
Yes. Thank you, Madam President. I look at this as well. My house is in a historic district. We've been through the board several times over the years. My wife currently serves on this board and sits with all these people who are here behind me. I have an understanding, and though I can vote on these appointments, reappoints, except for hers, at the same time, I have a real understanding and appreciation of what these boards do. I have a number of friends of mine who've been nominated to boards over the years and serve now, and the work that they do is hard and often thankless. And it's something that is not generally, most people out there, unless even when they deal with these boards, they don't appreciate that these are volunteers. They're giving their time, they're giving their expertise, they're giving it at they're not being compensated by the city for it, they're giving up their nights, the same way we do, but they're doing it without they don't even get paid for it. We at least, earn something for doing this for the city, and they don't even get that thanks. So to serve on a board or committee for the city takes a real commitment and a real desire to help people and a real desire to help things. At the same time, all the members of this have to be aware that they are citizens of this city, just like the people who are coming before these boards, and they're peers. They're peers with some expertise and knowledge that helps us deal with these things, but they're also peers, and these are our friends, these are our neighbors, and these are just residents who want to get things done make their homes better. So I hope that all the members of our boards, the Historic Commission, the Planning Board, the ZBA, all the boards just are always aware of that and keep that in mind as they try and serve the public and try and serve the city. It's a really difficult balance, and I admire everybody who's willing to take it on.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Sargent's recommendation for a roll call vote, do I see 3 hands? Okay. Madam City Clerk?
Councilor Terrio?
Yep. Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Ryan?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Lovely?
Yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Fumiko?
No.
Councilor Epley?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of the reappointment of David Hart to the Salem Historical Commission, we have 10 councilors voting, 1 absent, 9 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative. The matter carries.
Madam Council President, may I ask for suspension of the rules to allow David Hart to speak if he so chooses?
Seeing no objection, Mr. Hart? I didn't see you sitting over there, sorry.
Thank you very much, city councilors. I am very happy to be reappointed, and I promise that I will carry out my functions and duties over the next 3 years to the best of my abilities. Thank you very much.
Further committee reports. Councilor Fumiko.
City of Salem and City Council, March 9, 2017. The Committee on Public Health, Safety and Environment co-posted with Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of a request from Iberdrola to conduct maintenance and safety work on Sundays and to work a full second shift, 10 by midnight on weekdays and Saturdays, has considered said matter and would recommend that the matter remain in committee.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? On adoption of the recommendation and a discussion.
Yes, during our meeting, we had a pretty full house. We actually took up our next matter, the 25 mile per hour prior to this. There were some issues that were raised by neighbors that still don't have satisfactory responses. We had some regarding some speeding on the streets, some cut-throughs, parking, just an overall understanding of what the plan is. So there's a few answers we'd like to hash out and have some answers brought back by Iberdrola and Footprint before moving forward. I will note, though, that it was actually pretty appropriate that we did have the speed limit discussion the same night, as there was talk about, can we have temporary construction zones with lower speed limits? It was also brought up what they were thinking of possibly speed bumps, and also some side streets that people were saying are getting cut through. Well, technically right now, the side street speeds are 30, so if someone is going that, no matter what, it's going to seem fast when they should actually maybe be going 15 or 20 there. So tied in nicely with that, we're looking for some answers from Footprint. Councilor McCarthy might have some more to add to this, and also some other steps that they could go forward, whereas the state in committee.
Any further discussion? Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. Briefly, being the ward council where this is going on, it's been a lot of putting out fires for a long time with different issues that come up with regards to what's been going on. Obviously, there's some apprehension on my behalf and a lot of the neighbors' behalf, because what they're doing is they're asking for more and they haven't fixed what they're doing yet. They have a lot of issues going on. We've been trying to handle them along the way. I feel for the neighbors. I try to do as best as we can for them and hopefully try to resolve the issues as they come up and try to have long-term solutions as to how to correct them. Some things have gotten better and some things are still status quo. It's still a work in progress, but I am not in any position to even entertain the idea of extending anything or amending their agreement any further until they can show some progress on what they're doing currently. And that's what came out of the meeting. I stick by that. There are a lot of issues, some of which on the city side we're going to try to deal with to help mitigate those, and some that they have to step up and do them themselves. But it has been a long process. The light is seemingly at the end of the tunnel for those who weren't at the meeting. They've just about reached the apex of the total amount of employees they're going to need for construction. As they start to wind down in the next coming months, hopefully that will start solving some of the issues, but it's still, unfortunately, as been stated numerous times, even if it's 1% of the workers that are causing the problems, if that 1% of the people that are causing the problems happen to be in front of your house on that specific day, that problem is yours. And that's what it is, because I don't think it's every worker down there. It's a lot of workers are just guys that are looking to do their jobs, but there's some of them down there that are being totally disrespectful and doing things that they shouldn't be doing, but at the same time as we try to police them as best we can, and unfortunately sometimes we can't be everywhere at once and trying to control what they're doing, and unfortunately we're trying, and a lot of good suggestions came out of the meeting that I've been working with the police chief to try to implement, to try to help those issues along, and I will continue to do so. And if it gets to the point where this comes back in front of us again, it would be because Iberdrola and Footprint have reached some sort of agreement with some of the neighbors that have been directly impacted by this, or they have demonstrated their ability to adhere to the conditions they already agreed to, which they aren't currently doing. So I want to thank the committee chair for having the meeting, and it was well attended. There was a lot of good information that came out. But at this time, I also wholeheartedly recommend the matter stay in committee until such time we're ready to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? On Councilor Famico's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? The matter carries. Further committee reports. Councilor Famico.
City of Salem and City Council, March 9, 2017. The Committee on Public Health, Safety, and Environment co-posted with Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of a home rule petition to reduce the citywide speed limit to 25 miles per hour, has considered said matter and would recommend approval.
On adoption, on acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
Yes, Madam President, I'd like to amend that. The reason to amend it is when we put this forward, it was under the presumption that it was through home rule petition, but that has changed, so instead we have to do an order to adopt that. So I have that to read into record, and then I'll speak about it a little more. So
Okay.
amended to City of Salem in the City Council, March 9th, 2017. Order the City of Salem hereby accepts Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 90, Section 17C, which authorizes the city to establish a speed limit of 25 miles per hour on any roadway inside a thickly settled or business district in the city on any way that is not a state highway. And that's all.
On Councilor Famico's motion for amendment, all those in favor? All those opposed? Sorry. Under discussion, let's do it that way.
Yes, Madam President. So the other day, we started out the meeting with a 25 mile per hour. We had our traffic and parking director, Matt Smith, with us, who had a map up as well that showed certain streets in the city that would not be affected by this. While there are some that are not affected, such as state highways like 114, 1A, it also applies that some are not affected if a previous special condition were put on the road. So in parts of the city, we have either streets or portions of streets that are higher than 25, and that was set by a special condition by the City Council and a DPW regulation. So for example, there was one on Ford Avenue passed in 1972. And back then, they actually did the speed study. Our clerks went digging and up some ladders to dig this out for us. So we actually looked back at what was adopted then. So our traffic and parking director, Matt Smith, is reviewing these to make sure that they were done properly, to see if they're actually on the books, but is also contacting Mass DOT and some other agencies to see if there's a quicker way for us to evaluate these streets. Another example would be on Satella Lane near Camp Nomkeg. It picks up for about 1/8 of a mile at 30 miles per hour. Another one would be on Boston Street where AJ King that we just had the TIF for, that goes a faster speed limit as well, and they're just sections of the road. So this only does certain areas, and the updated letter that was provided to councilors tonight, that will also be in the record, has a website right at the bottom, and it is an overview of these speed regulations and also how to bring it to light in a city. It has some recommendations as far as enforcement, and there's actually speculations that for the signs, depending on where they are, they have to be certain sizes, certain fonts, certain boldness, which will help a lot of our residents who we've been hearing about. They italicize signs places and elsewhere, so they'll be a little more uniform. And I'll tag onto that our traffic and parking director said he would work with DPW, as well as about the sign placement for these, to make sure they're not behind trees, to make sure they're easily visible. And in certain districts, for example, the McIntyre district, that we're not plopping a sign down if here's a house right in the middle, so that when we're playing tourist or actual tourists are being tourist, they're not getting one of these street signs right in the middle of their photo. So a lot more work to be done on this, but this is a great first step, and I thank Councilor Fury for bringing this into us and for reaching out to other communities prior, and look forward to our next steps.
Thank you. Any further? Councilor Fury, Councilor Giroux.
I wish to sincerely thank our state legislature, especially State Representative Paul Tucker and Senator Joan Lovely, for allowing cities and towns to lower our speed limit. I am very grateful to Councilor Famico and the support and input of the Committee on Public Health and Safety, hopefully making this possible. I am very thankful for the input of Chief Butler and Lieutenant Pazuski in their advice and their support in this process. Also, Matt Williams, as Councilor Famico mentioned, Parking Commissioner, and our board for their support and expertise. This is a very important issue for all of us. This is not an overnight success, but a major step in the right direction. It will take education, experience, and enforcement, and we will not see the immediate results. But like no smoking in restaurants a decade ago, we will be healthier and safer city if we enact this. We are making a real positive and proactive difference in slowing the speed limit. There will be a collective sigh of relief from the schools, parks, and neighborhoods in our city if we do this. I have the full confidence that it is in our best and future interest to do this, this motion tonight, and I hope to have the support of the City Council. Thank you.
Councilor Giroux.
Thank you, Madam President. I am very much also in great favor of this. To be clear, if anyone is looking at the traffic ordinances, and I know that this was alluded to when the recommendation was presented, that in our ordinances, in the traffic ordinances, it'll say approved or not approved by DPW and the specific date. It's not Department of Public Works. It refers to Mass DOT. But it doesn't go through DPW, which is why, if you look at Lee Street, for example, that it took 5 months for that to get done, to get approved by the state, because this body had approved it. So on the books, it says in the traffic ordinances that it was approved to be 20 miles an hour going in both directions, but not approved by DPW Mass DOT back in 1989. And so from getting the speed study done with, working with Lieutenant Przewski, working with Mass in Motion, then petitioning the state, it took a total, again, of 5 months, and it will be fantastic to not have to go through that anymore. So,
Thank you. Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd also like to thank Councilor Fury for bringing this in, and Councilor Famico for all the work that she did on gathering all the information that we had to work with in the committee meeting the other night. And Matt Smith has done a great job so far in taking care of all these issues and bringing all this stuff to our attention to work with and supporting our work in his time so far running the traffic and parking department. I'm really pleased with the work that he's doing. What this does, kind of for the benefit of the audience here, by our default laws, unless the speed has been changed by us or by the state otherwise, and we've posted it, the speed limit in the city has always been 30 miles an hour for most roads that aren't otherwise posted. Whether it's marked or not, that's been the speed limit. And that's obviously, especially in the neighborhood, in the smaller streets in the neighborhoods, that's just wildly inappropriate. So lowering the default speed limit down to 25, we have a list of streets here, and we're going to be taking a look at some of those over the next while. That's something that came out of the committee meeting. We'll be looking at other streets that are non-state roads, like Route 107, Highland Avenue is a state road. Portions of that are a state highway. Portions of Lafayette Street are a state highway, and there are others. So like North Street is a state highway. So those are separate from our streets that we've changed the limits on, and we'll be looking at those and seeing what's appropriate. Maybe there's some places where, like has been said by my colleagues, it suddenly jumps up from like 30 to 35 miles an hour for an eighth of a mile for no particular reason. And, or at least that we know of nowadays. And so we'll look at those, but for this, there will hopefully be some enforcement of this as we go forward and people learn about the new speed limits, and hopefully this has an effect in shifting driver behavior and making our streets, especially our back roads and our neighborhood streets, just a little bit safer for people. Thanks.
Councilor Ripley.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you to the Ward 5 Councilor for that great summary. I just want to point out for Ward 4 residents specifically, Boston Street wasn't a street that's affected by by either the ordinance. Well, it would be actually affected by the ordinance because it's not a state highway, so it would be 25 miles an hour. But Marlborough Road already is under a special ordinance of the City Council is already 30 miles an hour, so that will not change until we come up with another plan. And then this one came to light during the committee meeting, and it's very troublesome to me, and I would gather it's going to be troublesome to Valley Street residents, but Valley Street is apparently a 35 mile per hour zone. And so I'm certainly going to be looking to reduce that. This was passed back in 75 or 76, something like that. There probably weren't as many houses on Valley Street back in the mid-70s, but it certainly would be dangerous today if people actually observe the speed limit.
Any further discussion? On Council Famico's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? The matter carries. Communications from city officials? None. Petitions.
We have a petition from Comcast to install a conduit on Traders Way for building located at 29 Traders Way.
Hearing ordered March 23rd, 2017. Further petitions.
We have a request for a special variance by National Grid to perform work on Sunday, June 4, 2017, from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. per City Ordinance, Chapter 22, Noise Ordinance, Section 2-Section 25C. The Director of Inspectional Services has granted a special work variance permit per ordinance of Chapter 22, Section 5A.
Reading.
Council Lovely moves to waive the reading. Councilor Famico.
Thank you, Madam President. The petitioner from this spoke during our public comment. If I could ask for a suspension of the rules to allow her just to come up to...
Seeing no objection?
Thank you.
And just your name again for the record.
Yes, Marissa Pizzi, in-house attorney with National Grid.
Great. So I asked Marissa some questions prior to the meeting, but I just would like to bring them up again. Could you go over the number of cars that will be on site, the location where they'll be parking, as well as the plan for when they'll be arriving in the morning and everything like that?
Sure. So we would estimate no more than 6 construction vehicles at any given time to be on site. It could be fewer than that, as few as 2, I would say, at any given point in time. The plan for parking would be for the vehicles to be parked on National Grid's property at the end of March Street Court. As I told Councilor Famico earlier, due to space constraints, there may be times when, if there's a particular, given whatever particular piece of construction equipment may be on site, that a construction vehicle may need to park at the end of March Street Court. But of course, we would make sure that driveways were not blocked and that residents would be made aware if there was going to be a vehicle parked in that vicinity. As far as when workers would arrive on site, we would estimate that they would arrive at 6:30 in the morning, but not to start any construction activity until 7 a.m., which is when we're requesting the construction be allowed to begin.
So where will their personal vehicles be parked?
On site, we would
Okay,
have
those are in
pickup
addition to
trucks
this?
and yes.
Okay. And in the morning, that includes the trucks backing up, that's included in the construction activity, that they won't back up the crane or anything else and have the beeping go through the neighborhood?
Correct.
Okay, great. Another thing is, we also spoke about to add some conditions. I asked Marissa if she would extend the notification to March Street residents as well as March Street Court, especially if there's a lot of vehicles in the morning and that when people see work happening, that they just don't assume it's someone's doing what they're not supposed to. And that notification include a project description, the dates and times, and a contact point. So if, especially on the weekend, if there's any concerns, that they can contact directly and not be playing a game of telephone tag. And then she also said that they would clean up the street if there's any debris, including cigarette butts or anything else of the workers in case they have to park outside of the site. And finally, I could ask you right now if we could just add one more condition. If the dates do change, because sometimes these plans do change, and we know that, could you notify us just via email and provide an update to the neighbors at least 48 hours in advance?
Sure, yeah, that's not a problem.
Just so that they know, because sometimes these things jump around an extra week. And to reach out to Dominic Pengal of the mayor's office to get something on building Salem as well, so that people know to check that out for the extended hours, especially because it's a week-long activity.
Yes, that's agreeable. Yes,
Great.
Thank you very much.
And one more question for you. Will the vehicles on site be idling at all during the construction? Because I know there's not noise of drilling or anything like that, but an idling vehicle of any sort?
I believe they may be. We have the project manager here from National Grid, but I believe they will be during the construction window.
Okay, and if there's questions with that, people can contact you?
Yes, absolutely.
Great. Will the contact be an email or email and phone number?
We can provide an email and phone number.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Yep. Okay.
Any other questions? No? Okay.
I have a question.
Yes. Council Sergeant.
So this is a 7-day, you want the Sunday, right? So it's the 7 days through you, Madam President?
Yes.
And how much inconvenience would it be to take Sunday off and finish it on Monday?
Well, I think the window itself is dictated by the outage availability for the line. So the outage availability we have is for that 7-day period. So we wouldn't be able to work on, to have the line be out on that Monday in order to continue the work on Monday. So we'd have to look for an entirely new outage availability
Are
period.
people going to be without power for 7 days?
No, so customers will not experience any interruptions. It's basically allows us to take the line out of service to work on the line, but it doesn't affect distribution. Customers
It
will
doesn't
still.
affect distribution. I'm just wondering why you couldn't finish it on Monday and give the people, Sunday off. Because they're putting up with 5-6 extra hours a day. You'll be there before they go to work, and you'll be there, well after when they get home. So they're going to be going 7 days straight, and they can only have reasonable peace and quiet from probably 9, because you're going to finish work at 8, which means the last truck or people will leave at 8:39. So they'll be arriving at 6:30. So they're going to get like from 9 to 6. They're going to get maybe 7 hours for reasonable peace and quiet when, most people would like to get 8 hours sleep a night. So we couldn't give them one day off for that?
Well, we're certainly mindful of the residents, and we did provide them with notice prior to tonight's meeting, just to let them know what we would be doing and what the hours of work would be in case they did have any questions or concerns, and we haven't heard from anyone. I do want to point out that the noise that we're expecting is minimal. We're not, and certainly there shouldn't be any more noise than they already hear from the MBTA railway that runs along March Street Court. So it's not an significant additional amount of noise that we're really expecting. We are mindful, and I certainly appreciate your question. And it's not as though National Grid doesn't want to, wouldn't be amenable. It's really a question of the outage availability for the line. And so if we can't finish the work on Sunday, then we would have to delay the work and find another outage period, which really, given the critical importance of this maintenance, would.
I know it's important, but if things go off schedule, you will definitely be working Monday or Tuesday because you have to finish it. It's not something you can just stop. So regardless of the outage, even if we gave you Sunday, if you were for some reason not to complete it on that 7th day, you would have to work the 8th or 9th day. You'd have to work till you get it done.
That's correct. I'd have to consult with the project manager to understand what the process for that would be. But yes, we would have to finish the work.
All right. I just would like to give people one day of reasonable peace and quiet. So, all said, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, on Councilor Famico's motion?
Didn't move to approve yet, move to approve.
Oh, okay. On Councilor Famico's motion to approve, all those in favor? All those opposed? The matter carries. Petitions.
We have a request from new owners, we already did that. We have a request from Hawk to hold a walk and use of city streets on April 30th, 2017.
Councilor Famico.
Thank you, Madam President. I move this be granted.
Under discussion?
Hawk does great work, and I know they're on the right path again and do a lot of great work in our community in general. I just had the condition that they notify the NIAC representatives of the route, and I'd ask that they do that now, but also if they could, like 72 hours in advance of it too, because we can notify people now, and as we get closer to a date, sometimes it lapses our memory. So just have them shoot an email to NIAC reps now. Our clerks have those email addresses, and then again, 3 days prior to the event as a reminder.
Thank you. Any other discussion? On Councilor Famico's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? The matter carries. Further petitions.
We have a request from the Salem YMCA to hold the Witch City Triathlon and use of city streets on August 12th, 2017.
Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I move this be granted.
Under discussion?
Briefly, Madam President, thank you. This is a terrific event that they've been holding for a number of years now. All the proceeds of this benefit the Salem YMCA. I know a number of people who have competed in this, including, I believe, our Ward 6 councilor. I've gone down to watch it more than a few times, and that's about as close as I'm going to get to doing it. But no, it's exactly bark, bark, bark. No, this is a really great event that they do. It brings a lot of people down to Forest River. It's really a good use of the park, and it's enjoyable to watch. And as an extra bonus, the vast majority of this race goes through Marblehead.
Thank you. Any further? Councilor Durant.
Thank you, Madam President. Just briefly, my colleague is correct. I have already done it twice, and last time I actually placed, which was very exciting. And it is really a fantastic event, and for anybody who likes to bike, likes to swim, and like to run, come do it all at once. It's fantastic, and the road is very well marked. There are a lot of volunteers out, and this is actually going to be the same bike route that we did last year, which was due to construction in Marblehead, and so it's 2 laps and 2 fairly not too bad laps, and the run even goes on the tracks towards Marblehead, and then swim, though, that's the tough part.
Thank you. Any further discussion? On Councilor Terrio's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have a list of license applications for limousine, public guides, taxi cab, and taxi operators.
Councilor Ryan.
I move granted.
Under discussion?
No discussion.
Any further discussion? On Councilor Ryan's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have license applications for Tag Days, Salem High School Track Team and Salem High School Girls Tennis.
Councilor Ryan.
Refer to Committee on Ordinance, License, Legal Affairs.
Under discussion?
No discussion.
On Councilor Ryan's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
The following, we have the following drain layer contract operator license, Thomas Mackey and Sons.
Councilor Ryan.
Move granted.
Under discussion?
No discussion.
Any further discussion? On Councilor Ryan's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have 3 claims and 1 subrogated claim.
Councilor Ryan.
Move to refer to Committee on Ordinance, License, Legal Affairs.
Any discussion?
No discussion.
On Councilor Ryan's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further, unfinished business, excuse me.
We have second passage of an ordinance, traffic, Chapter 42, Section 49, obedience to isolated stop sign, Columbus Avenue.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. Move for second and final passage.
Under discussion?
No discussion, Mr. President.
On Councilor McCarthy's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further, unfinished business.
We have second passage of an ordinance amending traffic, Chapter 42, Section 49, obedience to isolated stop sign, Holyoke Square.
Who wants to take this one? Councilor Famico, Councilor Ryan? I mean, Councilor Sargent.
Move second and final passage, please.
Okay, any discussion?
We are none.
Okay, on the co-motion by Councilor Famico and Councilor Sargent, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further unfinished business.
We have second passage of an ordinance amending traffic, Chapter 42, Section 55B, prohibited from parking residential districts.
Councilor Lovely.
Move second and final passage.
Any discussion?
No discussion.
Under Councilor Lovely's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? The matter carries. Further unfinished business.
We have second passage of an ordinance amending traffic, Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap parking, limited time, Appleton Street.
Councilor Durand.
Thank you, Madam President. Move for second and final passage.
Any discussion?
No discussion.
On Councilor Durand's motion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Councilor Fury.
Quite a privilege there. I'm sitting in Councilor O'Leary's seat and Councilor O'Keefe's seat, and it's a pleasure. And I really enjoy it myself there. Each of us received notice that Student Government Day is taking place on April 13th, and it's going to be much more encompassing, involving the charter schools and other different students taking part. So I hope each of you considers taking part in Student Government Day. It really touches their lives. I would have loved to have been involved myself back then. We didn't have them. It's a wonderful opportunity. I hope you take advantage of it. And a motion to adjourn. We request to adjourn.
We adjourn.